This is WVUA Law Call.
Well, plenty of us have been in a little fender bender out there on the road, but plenty more of us have been in a really serious accident. If you're one of those people, then you know what it can leave you with: injuries, bills to pay, missed work, possibly in some situations, unfortunately, even death. And then those family members have to deal with not only their sorrow, but so many legal issues, traffic accidents, being out on the road. We do it every day. Unfortunately, it leaves us with some big legal problems sometimes, and tonight we are talking all about traffic accidents. This is a very popular topic here on WVUA Law Call just because it affects so many people. So if you've got a question about a traffic accident and a legal problem, go ahead, be the first one to get your call through here on our lines at WVUA Law Call. Those lines fill up, so go ahead, make that call. And here's the number you need to know. It's 205-348-WVUA, 205-348-9882. Also, you can send an email to lawcall@wvua7.com, and we're going to do some of those email questions in just a little while. So if you've got an email question, send it our way. So go ahead, fill those phone lines up. We're going to give you a moment to do that while we let you know what's coming up here in the next few weeks on WVUA Law Call. Next week is April 30th. It's your chance to ask us anything. Those shows produce some great questions. Then on May 7th, a very serious issue that affects so many families, domestic violence, and maybe one of the first shows we've ever done here on Law Call strictly on domestic violence. Then on May 14th, another popular topic, and that is hurt on the job. Bob?
Yes?
Glad to have you here tonight.
Glad to be here.
Well, I know you are, and this is traffic accidents. This is the kind of thing you deal with every single day. Your law firm you concentrate a lot of your work in this area.
Yes, I would say, Terry, probably 60 or 70% traffic accidents, 18-wheeler wrecks. We also, of course, do product liability cases, but if you're injured, we handle those. And unfortunately, a lot of Americans, a lot of Alabamians, a lot of Tuscaloosan people get injured in car wrecks.
What are some of the factors that you see as in those accidents that come through your office?
The trend that we're seeing now is one you might expect. Somebody that's not paying attention, not focused on the road, talking on the cell phone is a big one. Just inattention mainly. You still have speed involved in some and still alcohol, but I would say the majority of the everyday wrecks, just not paying attention.
Well, and nowadays there are so many things that you can do in a car other than drive.
That's
you can
right.
talk on the phone, you can watch TV, you can text message, you can put on makeup, and driving really is an activity that requires, any of us who've had an accident before realizes that 1 second you look down and you might find yourself in an accident.
That's right.
But tonight, Bob, we're changing things up. We've done lots of traffic accident shows here on WVUA Law Call just because so many folks have so many questions about them, and it really is something that affects so many people. But tonight we're doing things a little bit differently. And you know what, we've got some photos, and hopefully that gives insight into what this show's all about.
Okay, the first one, I think this is going to be a photograph of our conference room, and the viewers can see some things like a laptop. And what this is, a paralegal has been in there preparing for a PowerPoint presentation that we would be doing at a mediation or in the courtroom. So it's sort of behind the scenes, how do you, when you go into court and you show those films, how is that done? Well, legal assistant spends hours going through video and cutting and pasting.
And we have another photo, too, of some boxes and documents.
This one is a photograph of some banker's boxes, and I saw this photograph before we came tonight. This is really not typical. I mean, I see 3 or 4 boxes, but we could have as many as 10 or 20 boxes of records, all compiled and gathered and organized by legal assistants.
It's a lot of work. So
it is.
It looks like we're talking about all the things that help an attorney get to the courtroom, all the work that's done before that big dramatic scene in the courtroom.
Exactly. Nobody sees what goes on behind the scenes, and I thought it would be good, and so did the station, to give the viewers a chance to just, bring in somebody that actually does the work behind the scenes and doesn't get the glory.
Well, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'd love to. So tonight, if we met at the office and said, who could we bring that would really set the stage and so the viewers could really get a sample, it would be Kacie Davis. So, Kacie, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Welcome, Kacie.
And
Thank you.
You'll get a lot of questions, but the one I want to know is Kaylin and Callie, are they watching?
They are watching. Hey, Kaylin.
2.5 years old. Callie, 3.5 months old.
Right.
Let me just give a little background about Kacie. She and her husband Trent worship at the St. Mark United Methodist Church. She's very active in the Emmaus community. She went to the University of Alabama, got her undergraduate degree in management, got a master's in higher education administration.
Yes, sir.
And we were fortunate enough to get her 5 years ago. And let me just put it this way. She is the glue that holds office together. I asked Josh, I said, what good thing can I say? And he said, tell them that, because everybody goes to Kacie when they have a question.
Well, and Kacie is the very first legal assistant that we've had on WVUA Law Call, and I think it's a really good idea because it does provide a totally different perspective in someone that does so much work in the legal office and helps you guys get to the courtroom.
Exactly.
So, Kacie, what got you interested? As Bob said, you have a degree in management and higher education, and now you're in the legal field, and I know that you've got some legal background in your family, too.
I do. My dad is actually one of the district judges here in Tuscaloosa, so I've grown up in the legal field and just was in the clerical area, support staff area, and was looking to make a change, and actually had a friend that worked at the office, and she told me about an opening that they had, and I interviewed, and here I am 5 years later, and I love my job and wouldn't have it any other way.
So tell us a little bit about your typical day for what you do. What do you do at the office, and what is your day like?
Well, that's actually a funny question because there's not a typical day. I don't have a standard day. Every day is different. That's one of the things that I like about my job is that every day is different. We have all different kinds of cases. I may be working on 20 different cases in one day. I may be working on an auto accident, just, you know, 2 individuals in the morning. 10 minutes later, I may be working on an 18-wheeler accident or a personal assault case or a boating accident. So, you know, I really don't have a typical day other than just going 90 to nothing from the time I get there till the time I leave in the afternoon.
It sounds like Kacie's pretty busy at the office.
I was smiling because that's true. I mean, she is, and as all the staff is down there, but Kacie is a great example of somebody that can take the initiative and can accept responsibility and do her job. And that's really what any professional wants, is a person to work with that has those attributes.
Sure, absolutely. And tonight here on WVUA Law Call, we're talking all about traffic accidents. If you've been hurt in a traffic accident, maybe someone you know has been hurt in a traffic accident, or maybe you just have a question, give us a call if that's the case. It's 205-348-WVUA, 205-348-9882. Go ahead and get your call in to our control room in there so we can get your question to our attorneys. And Bob, talk about some of the skills that in someone like Kacie and the other legal assistants at your office, what types of skills do you look for and what's important?
Absolutely. Well, when I first started practicing, Terry, it would have been, you know, we'd look for somebody that could type good, so many words per minute, could take dictation, and that shows you how long I've been practicing.
It's experience.
It is. It's experience. But today, really and truly, a lot of people think about a paralegal who has a degree. You can go to school and actually get a certificate, a diploma, and be a paralegal. Or you can be just as good, be a legal assistant if you're smart. That's the number one thing. I mean, you have to have the mental aptitude to understand legal concepts. But I think you have to be industrious, take responsibility, want to do things without being told. You have to not only take responsibility, but organization is tremendously important. And Kacie, that's one of her strengths, is when she starts with a file, I mean, you can bet she can put her hand on any document or any key witness address or whatever you need, what the lawyer needs. And sometimes it's on a moment's notice, isn't it, Kacie?
Yes, sir.
And what are some of the things, Kacie, you might take the call, let's say someone out there is thinking they need to call Bob's office, that they've been in an accident, they need some help. Their call might come to you, and what happens to get them from the phone call into the office?
Well, we actually have a rotation in the office for the different legal assistants. The receptionist will pass the callers through, so we're, you know, not bombarded with all of the calls in one day because we have other, you know, our cases to work on. But when a call comes in, we will basically just, most of the time they say they want to make an appointment. And unfortunately, we have to find out a little bit of information before we set up the appointment. So we'll go through, we'll talk to the potential client, find out